super fun, and all about artisan cheese and more to melt your peaceful heart and toast your peaceful life. Coming to you from the Appalachian Mountains of southwestern Virginia, this is the Peaceful Heart FarmCast.
Hey, this is Scott Hall from Peaceful Heart Farm, and you are listening to the Peaceful Heart FarmCast.
Hello, everybody. Melanie Hall here. Hope you are doing well. The conversation today and every day revolves around the value of tradition, traditional homestead living, traditional raw milk products, and artisan cheese. Topics discussed here are designed to create new perspectives and possibilities for how you might add the taste of tradition to your life. Today, I'm going to review how to get raw milk in Virginia via our herd share program. And because I have lots of new listeners, I'm going to review our creamery project. And I do want to take a minute and say welcome to all the new listeners and welcome back to my veteran homestead loving regulars. Thank you so much for stopping by the FarmCast every week. I appreciate you all so much. As always, there's a lot going on and there's not nearly enough time in a day to get everything done. And as always, I love it. It is so good to be alive. We are finally getting a break here on the homestead from the heat. Rain has finally returned, at least for the time being. There's still quite a bit of summer left to go. But it's nice to have the temperatures down in the low 80s and to have some wet and rain. Now, let me talk about our herd share program, as I said. It's been a while since I talked about it, and we offer you the opportunity to have your own part of our dairy herd. You too can experience what we are blessed with by virtue of operating our homestead, fresh raw milk and raw milk products. And I know all of you cannot possibly do what we are doing, but you'd like to have the benefit of fresh dairy products from pasture-raised cows. The way you do that is to purchase part of the herd and then simply pay a monthly boarding and maintenance fee, and we will take care of everything else. On a weekly basis, you come to the farm, pick up your fresh milk products. We have butter and cheese year-round. During the active milking season, we also have fresh, raw A2 milk and yogurt. We guarantee to have the fresh milk from the first Saturday in May through the last Saturday of October. And sometimes we have milk earlier, and sometimes it lasts longer into November. As I said earlier, cheese and butter are available year-round. We have many members who are only in it for the cheese and butter. If you are not familiar with A2 milk, I have a podcast on that topic. It's titled, What is A2 Milk? And there's a link in the show notes. Or just go to our website, www.peacefulheartfarm.com. Peacefulheartfarm, all one word, .com. And then you click or tap on the podcast menu item and then browse for What is A2 Milk? And you can look at some of the other podcasts that I've been doing if you're new. This particular one, What is A2 Milk, is way down the page, as it was well over a year ago that I did that particular podcast. For those of you out there listening to the sound of my voice, if you are in the southern or southwestern Virginia area or northern North Carolina area, we are here for you. It's about an hour trip from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and perhaps an hour and a half from Greensboro. In Virginia, Martinsville, Hillsville, Galax are all less than an hour away. Of course, Mount Airy is maybe only 30 minutes. Mount Airy is in North Carolina. That's maybe only 30 minutes from us. Wytheville is slightly over an hour. It takes us an hour and 10 minutes to get to the downtown farmers market. You can also pick up there. That is another pickup location on Saturdays. Roanoke is 2 hours from us. Floyd, Christiansburg, Blacksburg, you guys are all somewhere in between. We are open for on-farm sales and herd share pickups Saturdays 3 to 5 p.m., Tuesdays 10 to 12 p.m. And like I said, at Wytheville Farmers Market is currently 8 to 12 p.m. on Saturdays. Come on out. Get yourself some homestead sunshine. Take a look at how our animals are raised. We'll answer all your questions. Make sure you get the best grass-fed and finished beef, lamb, and goat on the market today. Again, Tuesdays, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., Saturdays, 3 to 5 p.m. Now, let me talk about the creamery. For our new listeners, I want to go over what we are doing with our creamery. My husband, Scott, is single-handedly building our USDA-inspected dairy facility. It is a monstrous task. He's been doing the physical work on it for 3.5 years. But long before that, he was drawing up the plans, and he was born with a hammer in his hand, so he's very skilled at doing these drawings. We had long discussions about what we needed to include and how were we going to arrange it. And the dairy inspector has been involved every step of the way. We want to make sure we're USDA inspected at some point. Many hours went into the design before the first bit of ground was dug up for that foundation. Once it is complete, we will be able to offer our raw milk cheeses to the general public. Right now, it's only available via our herd share program that I just talked about. The milk, butter, and yogurt, those will only ever be available via herd share, until the laws change in Virginia. But the cheese, you'll be able to just outright purchase that as soon as we are inspected. There are many different sections to the creamery building project. There's a barn, a milking parlor, a milk storage room, a full bath, a cheese make room, 2 cheese caves, a commercial kitchen, and a storefront where I will be doing business with all of you. Now, the barn area is the farthest away from my back door. And there's also what we call an animal loafing area there. And this is where we collect the cows for milking. It's a covered area, and we'll keep the donkeys out of the rain and snow. They really need that protection, and they don't really have it. Well, we go get them when it gets really bad, but for right now, they don't have the protection that they would like, I think. And there's also a small area on the other side of the wall from the stanchion platform that will be used for various other aspects of animal husbandry. So from that loafing area, the cows walk up 4 short steps to get to the stanchion area. This area is set up with metal bars that keep the cows together and aligned at the perfect angle for milking. And the cows walk into the stanchions and they eat a little snack while we are milking them. We are standing below them where the floor of the milking parlor and the rest of the whole building is about 2.5 feet lower than the elevated barn floor. Let's do a virtual tour of the rest of the building. All right, so you're currently standing on the floor of the milking parlor, and the cows are there in front of you. It's open and breezy. The design is one we saw at another dairy near us. They got the idea from a trip they made to New Zealand, to a New Zealand dairy. So most milking parlors in the U.S., they're closed in, they're dark, they're humid, but ours has a roof but no sides, and the air freely circulates. Now imagine you're facing the cows in their stanchions. Now turn around and face the other way. Behind you, the rest of the creamery is now in front of you once you've turned around. So the first thing directly in front of you is the doorway to the milk room. We're right in the middle of the floor, right in the middle of that wall. There's this doorway to the milk room, and this is where the milk is stored. There is a direct pipeline from the milking parlor to the milking room. And its main feature is a large stainless steel bulk milk tank. Our tank will hold up to 80 gallons of milk, and the milk must be cooled quickly, and this is the piece of equipment that makes that happen. In accordance with USDA inspection rules, it must be emptied, cleaned, and sanitized at least every 3 days. All right, so there will be a regular measurement that will show what the temperature is over those 3 days. And again, it has to cool quickly. It has to remain at a certain temperature. And then it has to be emptied and cleaned out every 3 days. So we'll be making cheese or pouring up milk for herd shares every 3 days. Now we're still standing on the floor of the milking parlor, and directly to your left would be the wall. Just to the left of that milkroom door, there's just a wall there that is the outside of the large cheese cave. There is no access from this side. There's no door there. This is called the dirty side. To the very far left is a utility room, and it holds the washer and dryer and the pipeline milking system. And that thing is really loud. I'm glad it'll be behind closed doors in that utility room. Again, still standing in the middle of the parlor floor, to the right of the milk room doorway is a doorway to the clean side. And walking through that doorway into a hallway, and immediately on your right is a bathroom complete with a shower. We'll be able to come in dirty and sweaty from milking or whatever and take a quick shower and get into clean clothes before entering the quote clean side. So when you walk into this section, the bathroom is on the right, and in front of you there's storage area for clean clothes, aprons, gloves, boots, and so on. All those kind of things that are used within the cheese make room. So it's a little ante room there, and it's the cheese make room is the ultimate of clean spaces, and so you have to get cleaned up, get geared up before you go in there. And there are even pans of bleach water at various locations to keep the soles of boots clean and sanitized. All right, so let's go through the door into the cheese make room. So, before we get there, you'll see that there is actually, before going through that door into the cheese make room, on your right, there is an entrance exit door to the creamery. So you can just come in and use the bathroom there. Or go directly into the creamery. If you're coming from somewhere and you're clean, you can just put your stuff on and go in. We're going to enter the cheese make room, and in here we're going to find all of the tools and equipment used to make the cheese. The vat is the centerpiece, and it has a hole through the wall where from the milk tank that's on the other side of that wall, you can put the milk directly into the cheese vat. There are lots of cheese forms or molds for shaping the curd. There are sinks and tables, all stainless steel, shelves containing various sets of weight and measuring tools, cleaning supplies. In the corner is the magnificent cheddar cheese press we special ordered from the Netherlands. If you look at the floor, you'll see that the floors have a tile with a special and very expensive grout that will hold up to the acid pH of the cheese whey as it empties out of the vat directly onto the floor, and it flows down to a floor drain in the center. So in the cheese room and the two cheese caves, they'll have this special tile. It's tile everywhere, but it's the special grout. The tile will be the same. It's the grout that's special in the cheese make room and in the two cheese caves. So let's talk about the cheese caves. After you just entered into the cheese make room, and so if you just turn left, there's a wall directly on your right. So you turn left and walk all the way across the room to the exit door. And it leads to a common area between the cheese caves and the kitchen. So directly in front of you outside that door is the small cheese cave, and to the left is the door to the large cheese cave. And then to the right, it's just an open doorway, no door there, and that goes to the commercial kitchen area. Now, the cheese caves are heavily insulated rooms that will maintain a specific temperature and humidity. We're currently using the small cave to age the cheeses we're making for our herd share members. And that room is complete. That is an actual complete room in the creamery, except it doesn't have the electricity in there that it will have. It's got something rigged up. It works quite well for the humidifier, a small lamp, the window air conditioner, and a CoolBot. The CoolBot is an electronic device that fools the air conditioner into thinking it's warmer than it actually is, so the air conditioner continues to run. Most air conditioners are not going to cool a room below 60 degrees, but with a CoolBot, we can get our temperature down to the low 50s, which is ideal for aging cheese. In fact, we could even get it lower if we might use that room at some point as cold storage for vegetables from the garden, or if we do a self-butcher of an animal on the homestead, we could use that room in that way as well. So the humidity, there is a small humidifier in there, and the humidity right now is well over 70%, and it gets us, I think we've gotten it as high as 83%. I'd like to get it to go a little higher, so we're still working on that detail a little bit. The large cheese cave will be similarly equipped, and it has enough space to house an entire year's worth of cheese. Some of our cheeses need at least 8 or 9 months to reach a decent maturity, and they will only get better with time. But that means we're collecting a lot of cheese to be able to store a lot of these cheeses for 9 months to a year or more. Now let's go back where we're standing in the entry alcove. You've got the large cheese cave on the left. You've got the small cheese cave that is directly in front of you, and you turn right and we'll go into the commercial kitchen. You can see yet another entrance or an exit door. It's not there yet, but you will eventually see a large stove to the left of that door and a triple sink to your all the way to the left against that wall. Stainless steel tables will be in the middle of the room. We'll have freezers and refrigerators. They're going to be lined up along the wall opposite of the door. And a window above the chest freezers will give visitors a view into the cheese make room. And far to the right, you will see the door to the storefront, and that's the last room in the building. Of course, it also has an entrance exit door all the way to the outside, and this is the door where you guys would enter the building to pick up your product. And I'd be in the little storefront there. We'll have a table and chairs and a counter and some other things on display there. And there's a window there, another window that looks into the cheese make area. When it is finally complete, we will have an open house for you all to come and see how it all turned out. Classes in cheese making and food preservation will also be a time where you all can see the final creation. And if you are a herd share owner, weekly and or monthly visits bring you even more access to all of it. Now that went a little longer than I originally intended, but I get so excited when I'm talking about our creamery. I want everyone to know how wonderful this project is and what a wonderful job Scott's doing to bring our dreams to life. You just keep putting one foot in front of the other. How about some homestead updates on the animals, the gardens, and the orchards? All of the animals are doing really well, even in the heat. Now, the cows produce slightly less milk on really, really hot days, but for the most part, they are doing a splendid job of producing milk for otherwise munching lazily on grass all day long. That's what they do. The calves are getting bigger. Luna's eye is healed from pink eye, and it looks like she will have permanent scarring on her eyeball. We now have the flies under control and do not foresee any future issues with pink eye. We have few enough cattle that we should be able to handle this really well. We are down to just 2 bulls being raised for meat. I called the meat processor today to get them scheduled. They're not anywhere near ready to go, but I called today to get them scheduled, and it will be October 2021 before they can be processed. They will probably be 2.5 years old by then. There are still hiccups in the food supply chain due to the virus. It looks like it is going to take quite a while to get that flow back to normal. The overflow from the closure or reduction of service from large processing plants keeps overwhelming the smaller custom processing operations used by small farmers like us. The goats and sheep are also doing really, really well. I'm pleased that we've had no issues with lambs this year. It is the first time in our history on this homestead that we have come this far without losing a single lamb. A 70% to 80% survival rate, much more common. I noticed the coats on the donkeys are really glossy today. Probably a month ago, they finally shed all of their winter coat. They go pretty far into the summer before that winter coat is gone. And then quite often they'll roll in the dirt and that dulls their coats. But we had rain last night and they were particularly glossy this morning. They're so beautiful when they look like that. The heat has kept me busy watering the garden. And I don't know if I mentioned this in prior podcasts, but I hope to have drip irrigation in place next year. We keep improving our gardens each year, and I think it's time for the automatic watering system to get going again. We had it working for a couple of years, but we've not reconstructed it since the entire garden was redesigned, I guess 4 years ago, four seasons ago anyway. The peppers, tomatoes, and sunflowers are the centerpieces of the garden at the moment. Many of the sunflowers have bloomed, and they are gorgeous. Many more to come. The tomato plants are loaded with green tomatoes. I saw an orange one this morning from afar. I'll have to go out there later and see if there are others. There's so many of those tomatoes. They're probably all ripened pretty close to the same time. The peppers are still producing well, and some of the peppers are smaller than I think they should be. And I believe that is due to not enough fertilizing. I need to step up my game in that arena. And now that I mention it, the basil, oregano, and thyme are also worth note. I took an oregano leaf to Scott the other day when he was milking and I was out watering the garden, and I brought him just an oregano leaf. And I let him smell it and identify it. I mean, don't you just love the smell of fresh basil and oregano? I'll be drying some of that for use this winter. In the orchard, we have a lot of blackberries that are getting eaten by the birds. There is a groundhog hole in there also. He's probably taking advantage of that as well. Scott went out there with the chainsaw and cut a path between the rows. I might have mentioned that last time. He started last week and just yesterday finished all of the rows. That was so overgrown. He just cut down both sides, just a path so you could walk through there. And I can freely pick berries now. But there's still so much that needs to happen with cleaning up those rows of blackberries. Now that I have a clear path, I foresee I'll be out there picking, but the final cleanup is going to happen much later, in the fall, perhaps even in the winter. The strawberries are completely overrun with weeds. I have a task on my calendar that says, weed the strawberries. It also says it is 4 weeks overdue. That's in my Outlook calendar. Do you have any idea how many weeds have taken over in 4 weeks in the middle of summer? It's a lot. There are far more weeds than strawberry plants, I can tell you that. Looking on the bright side, though, the larger weeds, when I get out there, it's going to be much easier to pull them all up, and you can clear large areas all at once with just a little work. It makes a very big dent with just a little work. And feeling you've accomplished something is very easy when you see the earth where previously it was covered with large green things with lots of stickers. Well, that's it for today's podcast. I hope you enjoyed the tour of the creamery. It's good to review how far we've come every once in a while. If you are near us and looking for raw milk products, I hope you'll consider joining our herd share program. We make really fine cheese, and our milk is rich, nutritious, and best of all, delicious. The butter I make is the best I have ever tasted, and I've had other grass-fed raw milk butters. I've made other grass-fed raw milk butters. This one is superb. You won't find this kind of quality and flavor anywhere else. If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to subscribe via iTunes or your favorite podcast listening app. Also, please share this podcast with any of your friends or family who might be interested in this type of content. That is the absolute best way to help us grow our podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And until next time, may God fill your life with grace and peace.